Hello and welcome. I'm an AI expert who specializes in modern hospitality operations. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most critical parts of operational excellence. It's what I like to call the unseen engine of a hotel, and it is absolutely fundamental to creating a seamless guest experience.
It is a real pleasure to be speaking with all of you from the Europe Hotel School. This whole module is designed to give you practical, actionable knowledge that you can use like tomorrow in a real hotel. Our goal is to get you ready to lead in this incredibly dynamic industry.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about this invisible divide that causes so much friction. Then we'll get a real look into the world of housekeeping, what their day actually looks like. From there, we'll connect the dots and see how tiny misalignments can cause a huge cascade of delays. And finally, we'll talk about building that communication bridge to unlock the incredible power of getting everyone on the same page.
All right, let's dive right in. First things first, we have to uncover the root cause of one of the most common yet persistent headaches in any hotel, that invisible divide between the front office and housekeeping.
Now this, right here, this is perfect. It really captures the heart of the problem. You've got the front office agent, and all they see is a guest waiting in the lobby. Their question makes total sense. But then you have housekeeping, looking at a list of 15 checkouts, and they're thinking, okay, they're all a priority. Which one do you want first? It's not about effort, it's about perspective.
And that really brings us to the key takeaway here. The problem isn't that people aren't working hard enough, not at all. It comes down to something much simpler, but way more powerful. A total lack of visibility into what the other team is dealing with at that exact moment.
So, if we're going to bridge that divide, the first step is empathy. Real operational empathy. And that starts by taking a much closer look at the complex day-to-day reality of the housekeeping department. From the outside, it might just look like cleaning rooms. But in reality, it's an incredibly sophisticated logistical operation. It's this amazing combination of strategic planning, serious physical work, and hitting precise timelines, all while meeting really high safety and quality standards.
And get this, a housekeeping shift doesn't just start with a mop and a bucket, it starts with strategy. The morning briefing is basically a daily strategy session. They get their assignments, figure out the priority for all the departure rooms to get them back into inventory, then they slot in the VIP arrivals, and finally plan out all the stayover services. It's a highly structured plan built for efficiency.
But even the most perfect plan runs into the real world, right? You've got do not disturb signs that pop up, a room that needs way more attention than expected, a guest who makes a last-minute request, or someone who doesn't want service at all. Every single one of these throws a wrench in the works and makes that rigid schedule a real challenge to stick to.
Okay, so now let's see what happens when those unpredictable variables collide with that lack of communication we talked about. This is where a single, tiny disruption can start a chain reaction, a cascade of delays that can honestly impact the entire hotel.
This timeline just makes it so clear. It all starts with something small. 11 a.m., front office approves a late checkout. No big deal, right? Well, by 12:30, that room is finally free, but the housekeeper has had to completely change their planned route. That one change pushes back the next room, and the next. And suddenly it's 2:30 p.m., and a guest who arrived a little early is now being told their room isn't ready. That one decision at 11 a.m. led directly to this unhappy guest.
And here it is. This is the moment of impact. All the pressure lands right at the front desk. The agent is dealing with a frustrated guest, and from their point of view, the room is simply late.
But this gives us the other side of the story. The attendant isn't lazy. They're not behind schedule because they're slow. They are reacting to a change in the plan, a change they had no input on. This just perfectly highlights the logistical strain that came from that one little moment of disconnect.
Okay, so we've seen the problem from both sides. We understand the realities. Now we can actually start building the solution. And that solution is all about creating a framework for proactive, collaborative communication that turns that friction into a real partnership.
This table is basically your playbook. Look at the first line. An early guest arrives. Instead of just calling housekeeping and saying, "I need a room," the front office says, "I need room 305 specifically." What can housekeeping do? They can immediately resequence their work to push 305 to the top. It's about being strategic, not just reactive. And really, it all boils down to this. This is the crucial shift in mindset. As soon as possible just creates vague pressure and stress. But this specific room first, that creates a clear shared target. It's the difference between organized chaos and a truly coordinated effort.
So let's talk about the payoff. When we get this alignment right, the impact is profound. It touches everything, your efficiency, your team's morale, and of course that seamless, amazing experience we want for every single guest who walks through our doors.
You know, a perfect guest arrival almost never happens by accident. It's the direct result of these 4 things working together. You need proactive communication to create shared priorities. And underpinning all of that is the mutual respect and operational empathy that we've been talking about this whole time. They all feed each other. And these are the real-world rewards. That invisible barrier just dissolves. Problems become shared challenges to solve, not things to blame each other for. That creates a culture of trust, which boosts morale. And happy employees, well, they provide amazing service. At the end of the day, the guest is the one who wins, getting an arrival that just feels effortless.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to carry with you. We've zeroed in on front office and housekeeping today, but this idea, this principle of operational empathy, it applies everywhere. As you go forward in your careers, always be asking yourself, where else can a deeper understanding of my colleague's world completely transform the guest experience?